Morena, and getting to the point, item A, I think it's fair to say there is a level of frustration in the Diamond Harbour community about how long it is taking for anything to happen, particularly at the Godley House site. You will see the board recommended to council to begin some formal engagement. I've had a conversation with Andrew, and the urgency appears to be getting maybe some projects into the long-term plan, and maybe one possibility will be for the community board to work with the Strengthening Communities team to have a conversation about projects that might have come out of the report that Pete's just presented that should go into the long-term plan. So I'm suggesting that may be a way forward, and I'm happy to take that on and take it away.
So in terms of the recommendation here, you'd prefer that that the words formal come out of that, so that the council begin engagement with the Diamond Harbour community about issues highlighted, or do you want the formal engagement and consultation left in?
What's formal? What's the definition
of formal? I mean, it probably
leave
is
it in
irrelevant.
there, it's fine.
Leave it in there?
Yeah.
All right, so you'd like to move that, Andrew, seconded by Phil?
Well, I'm just assuming that, in fact, the community board will be involved with that consultation too. So it wouldn't be just a council-led, it would be involved with the community board?
I would imagine so.
And the other thing I wanted to ask you is, could you just give us a quick indication of the community facilities that are available in Diamond Harbour for local people?
Well, Diamond Harbour is very well endowed with community facilities, but what should not be lost is that the community raised money and built them all themselves. So there is a community hall, there's a rugby club facility, there's bowling and croquet greens. There is a library, but I think that there has been some planning around the library strategy that looks at all the Banks Peninsula libraries, because it's not ideal. And one of the things that came out of the consultation that the Sprig people have done is
that the council began
that the Godley House site might be a future site for a new community facility that might involve a new library. But that's probably way down the track, yes.
The motion is that the council begin formal engagement and consultation. The board also requested confirmation from the council that a recovery case manager has been assigned to Diamond Harbour under the Suburban Recovery Program. I don't have any advice on that. It's not something
the board's understanding was that right at the beginning, Diamond Harbour was one of the 63 suburban centres that was supposed to have a case management.
Yeah, but right at the beginning, I wasn't the Mayor of Christchurch.
Yes,
I
know.
said that I've got no advice on it. So I'm uncomfortable with moving a resolution that may have implications for how the council operates. It's an operational issue, so I'd rather refer the question of the recovery case manager under the Suburban Recovery Program to staff to report back to the council. So,
well, could they also report back to the board?
Oh yeah, of course they can. But presumably you've already requested the council for that information.
Yes, well, this was 2 months ago, and we still haven't got an answer.
Okay, all right. So, we'll have that. Why are we amending the recommendation? The recommendation is fine, that the council begin formal engagement and consultation. So we're accepting that. The second part of it, though, is that is this under you?
It's not, but if we can just, I think what council needs to do is pass a resolution about what you want to happen, and then how we make it happen comes back to staff, because it goes across different groups.
Yeah, but who is responsible for? Gosh, it's gone now. Where is it? Where?
Do you mean the Suburban Recovery Program?
Sorry, the recommendations just suddenly changed in front of me. I'll have to go back to the paper one.
Which might save us a lot of time and energy, is that we had the briefing about the strategy and work program. It seems to me that this is really part of that. could we not just address this at our briefing and then come back with a holistic approach? Because there's other community boards and other parts of work we need to do as a council that we have no visibility of. And so I'm really supportive of doing this work, but what I need to see is for the next 12 months, what are we going to be doing? And we've already got a process we're right in the middle of ascertaining that. So if we could feed this into that process, I think that would be the best outcome.
Sorry, sorry, I've now got the written one in front of me. I don't want that back on the screen. What I want is that and I want to know which manager's in charge of the suburban recovery program.
That one's Mike Tillon, but
Okay.
I think this will go across operations as well because of a lot of parking.
But just
you
that Mike Tillon, that the Chief Planning Officer, that's his right
Yes,
title,
correct.
provide advice to the community board at its next meeting whether a recovery case manager has been assigned to Diamond Harbour under the Suburban Recovery Program. That's what they've asked for. So it's just a question of the council saying to staff, we need the community board to be informed about that matter.
Okay.
Yep, Andrew, is that?
Yep, no, that's fine.
Yep. Phil?
Look, in a sense, I was seconding this pro forma, but having asked the community board chair and the community board chair's description of community facilities in Diamond Harbour, I do think that in terms of a town centre and a place for people to be, there's clearly, you've referred to a library, and I'm just wondering, in fact, if this is the right resolution for us as a council to support. I'm particularly, and I lean towards what Yanni is suggesting, that this be seen in conjunction with other community facilities that we as a council can afford to support. So I just now I'm happy to continue seeking that pro forma so we have the discussion and debate.
Well, the way that I've recast this is that I don't think that it is appropriate to have the first paragraph that wasn't. I know that it. Yeah, I'm not explaining this very well, but I think that we haven't had sufficient advice as a council to make that decision. But if we recommend that the council begin formal engagement and consultation with the Diamond Harbour community about the issues highlighted in the report, then I think that gets the thing moving and gets people to get all the issues on the table and is not directive. The only other thing that the community board has asked for is for a report back on this particular role, whether there's a recovery case manager has been assigned or will be assigned to Diamond Harbour under the Suburban Recovery Program.
I don't think the community board needs a formal report. We need a yes/no answer on what's going on. Originally they were appointed to support
the
economic.
What we said. The Chief Planning Officer provide advice to the community board at its next meeting on whether a recovery case manager has been or will be assigned to Diamond Harbour under the Suburban Recovery Program. Yeah, Andrew.
Yeah, here we've got a community which has had some good ideas for a long time, which has engaged with its community, has done everything that we would want a community association or a community group to do. Clearly they've got some good ideas which have been worked up into a document and a presentation. I see this as something which is going to be led within the community, led by the community board, requiring some input from strengthening community staff who are there on the ground in the ward anyway, and possibly with some advice from time to time from planning staff, so that the community and the community board can work up some submissions to the long-term plan, which of course is the way that anything will be funded in any case. So I think this gives enough breadth for that work to happen, for us to respect the work that the community has done already, to allow the community and the community board to take a lead in this with appropriate staff support and advice as required.
I'm told that Carolyn Ingalls will join us and provide some advice. So thank you, Carolyn, that's very helpful.
So in terms of the Suburban Centres recovery program, our resources are fully committed on the work that we're doing around completing the master plans, and in terms of case management, we operate on a reactive basis across the city. The resources are prioritised to the master plans, and so when a development comes in, we provide a case manager as appropriate. Not every new development actually needs that level. So that's how we're operating within the program right now.
So there's obviously no case manager assigned to Diamond Harbour, but there's no plan to have Diamond Harbour as part of the suburban recovery program?
No.
So was it ever originally?
No. I would. I've had staff do a quick précis of the plan, the community plan, and I'd endorse what Councillor Turner said. From our professional perspective, it's a really good plan. There's probably some further small investigations that may be needed, but it's a really good start for that community to move forward. But yeah.
So could we get a brief report in writing, perhaps, back to this community board, just setting out, the parameters of the suburban recovery program and why they weren't included, and sort of why, and I mean, because that'll explain why there hasn't been a recovery case manager. But it seems to be the community board had an expectation that they were included. And it turns out that they're not. So can we just get a quick written report to the next community board meeting that sets out what their issues are? Is that possible?
I'm wondering, because there was quite a lot of analysis done when the Suburban Centres program was established, and I could provide, and that was reported to council and approved by council. So I could provide that to the community board. The link to that report. So there was analysis done of the damage in the suburban centres and identifying where the priorities were for that work.
But I think what I'm saying is that, or I think what I'm hearing, and maybe I'm not hearing it right, but the community board seems to be under the expectation that they were going to be covered by the program, and they're not. So. Is there any way that we can provide clarity to the community board without them having to trawl through a document to find out why they don't qualify? Is that possible?
So yes, I'm. Perhaps I could just rephrase what I said before. We don't have specific staff allocated to specific areas. What we do is we look at the demand, and it's a reactive process that we operate, and where a private individual wants to undertake a development in one of the suburban centres, if they need a case manager to help them through that, we will identify how we can resource that, but we're not doing that in a proactive way.
Right.
And I detect that's the difference that the community, and maybe I'm putting words in the community board's mouth about wanting a more proactive approach for Diamond Harbour.
Well, I wonder. I mean, I think it would be fabulous if you went to the meeting. Paula, have you got a? Yeah.
Well, my understanding was that what the suburban centres what do you call them? The suburban case managers do is that they, if a business is struggling or needing support to establish in a suburban centre, but the thing is that's not the demand in Diamond Harbour. In fact, it's almost as if the community needs the kind of support that is provided to a business to enable them to make some progress on some of the things they might like to proceed with.
Yeah, but it may need a specific resource allocated to it as part of the long-term planning process. So, I mean,
but the urgent thing is if there's things that need to happen quite soon, without a massive master planning exercise, which probably isn't going to happen now. I don't know. Maybe I'm preempting it. Then some projects need to go into the long-term plan.
Yeah. So, okay, so we can take...
And maybe the project is to do a master plan.
we can take the second paragraph out completely and just leave this. Yeah, and I think that really covers it. And I think, Carolyn's explanation makes sense. And I can understand where the difference has lied, because it's one's individual, one's community. So, and I think that as part of this consultation, we can work out what's needed. Yep.
Good.
Yanni, and then Pauline.
So I just want to make 2 points. One is we have not given any indication that we will not replace Godly House. So I just think it's really important. We have not signalled our intention. We're in the process of negotiating with our insurer for a global settlement, and we're also in the process of going through statements of position on individual facilities, and we will continue to do that. But there has never been a call by this council, as far as I'm aware, that we will not replace Godly House. So just wanted to get that out of the way. And then the second point is we've got a strategy and planning work program, and I really support the community board being able to engage with their local community, find out what the projects are. What I'm concerned about is we're halfway through a process of that strategy and planning work program. We haven't signed off on it as council, and it seems to me one of the key things we need to decide is whether we want to put this process into that mix, and how do we engage with our community boards about what other planning processes that they want included, and what are we prepared to do in terms of funding. So, I think it's a really interesting question about how we do future planning, and I don't know whether this includes district planning, whether it includes just capital works or operational issues. I would have thought it's a bit like the Woolston area. You actually need to look at the holistic issues in the community. So I just think we need to put this into context with all the other stuff we're doing and have a process for talking to every community board about where the priorities are for planning.
Pauline?
I could be on the wrong track, but look, I don't see why that doesn't read that the community board begin engagement and consultation. We would assume that council supports community boards in its engagement and consultation anyway through their strengthening communities team and other staff. And this should be driven by the community board, and that's supporting what you're saying, Yanni, that all community boards should have the ability to do this. So I don't know why that doesn't read that the community board begin engagement, which I believe they already have done.
Well, we have, and it would be our normal course of events to talk to our communities about what projects they want in their long-term plan anyway, as we build up to it.
Yeah, Phil.
Yeah.
I think that's the nub of it. It's the other. It's to talk with your communities about what sort of facilities you need as a community, and because earlier there was reference to sort of like a town centre, and it just seems to me that I'm just a bit concerned about raising expectations that in fact a new Godly House will be built, when in fact we're not sure about that as a council in terms of our position, and especially compared with the need for other facilities. Does not mean it shouldn't be part of the long-term plan, but I'm just have some concerns.
All right. Well, I mean, I think that the intention of the community board, and don't get me wrong, was that they wanted the support of the sort of staff of the council to really undertake this consultation. So I'm happy to add the words that the council, along with the community board, or the community board supported by the council staff, or whatever. I don't really mind which way it goes.
As I'd said earlier, I see this as largely led by the community and the community board, but there will be a need for some staff support.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what our strengthening communities people are there for, is to support community engagement.
Okay.
That's exactly what this is about.
All right. So are you happy to second that on that basis? So I'll put that motion. All those in favour say aye. He's not Councillor Scandra. All those opposed say no. That's carried. Thank you very much.